Welcome to this tutorial for Cisco Cybervision. In this tutorial we are going to cover a basic configuration of Active Discovery. Before we configure Active Discovery, let's quickly recap about the architecture of Cybervision and the role of the sensor. Cybervision is a two-tiered architecture, and it has flexible options for deploying its components. The center can be deployed on hardware-based environments, such as the UCS M6, but also leveraging virtual environments, like Amazon AWS, or Microsoft Azure. The sensor application can be deployed on any of the listed examples out of Cisco's hardware portfolio. This not only provides the necessary flexibility to comply with the architectural and business requirements of the use case, but it also adds additional value to the networking devices hosting the sensor. In addition to that, Cybervision offers deploying its sensor as a Docker-based application to any industrial compute that complies with the technical requirements. Please refer to the tutorial video for installing the Docker-based sensor. Active Discovery is one mode of operation of the sensor to acquire characteristics of devices. In comparison to the standard of passive deep packet inspection, Active Discovery is based on requests being sent from the sensor to a device in a proactive manner. To start configuring Active Discovery, log into your center. Navigate to Admin in the main navigation and select Sensor Explorer from the sub-menu. Make sure that there is at least one sensor deployed, connected and has a normal processing status. In this example, you can see a Docker-based sensor, and a sensor deployed to a switch with the label starting with FOC. Enabling Active Discovery for a sensor is done in two steps. The first step is creating an Active Discovery policy. The policy defines the technical behavior. For instance, which protocols to include, and how to behave per each protocol. You can define as many policies as you need. The second step is about creating profiles. A profile defines the configurational scope of Active Discovery, which sensor and network to include, if to do Active Discovery on a periodic basis, and also which of the previously created policy to use. Let's start with creating a policy. Navigate to Admin in the main menu, and select Active Discovery and then Policies from the sub-menu. Click on the Create Policy button. Provide a name for your first Active Discovery policy. Keep in mind that the name should help you to identify a particular policy later on. You might want to consider to encode a specific purpose, network or location name, or use case into it. The next step is to select any combination of protocols for the broadcast part of Active Discovery by flipping the switches. Let's activate Ethernet and ICMP. Since Cisco Cybervision Active Discovery supports broadcast and unicast protocols, you can now decide which unicast protocols to include in this policy. Let's include HTTP. Please note that you have a protocol-specific configuration. For this protocol you need to select the ports to use. Let's also include Modbus. For Modbus, you need to provide the unit ID. Last but not least, let's include SNMP. SNMP requires to specify a community name. There are advanced settings for Active Discovery, addressing its resiliency. You are free to either accept the default values for timeouts and retries, or to change them. Once you are done, click on Create. With your policy being created, click on it in the list and verify all your settings. If you identify something that requires a modification, click on Edit and apply your change. You completed step number 1. Let's proceed with step 2, creating a profile. Select Admin in the main menu, Active Discovery in the submenu, followed by Profiles. Now click on Create Profile. Provide a name for your Active Discovery profile that helps you to recognize this profile at a later point in time. Select the Active Discovery policy you created in step number 1 from the dropdown. You now have to specify from where Active Discovery should know which IPs to include. You can choose to include IPs from one or many presets, and you can choose to combine this with manually specified IP targets. Let's do both. We will select a preset and as well specify a network to include into the Active Discovery scope. Select which sensors to include into the Active Discovery. You can select one or many sensors. Define the scheduling for your Active Discovery. This step is not mandatory, and you could skip defining the scheduling configuration entirely. You would do that if you intend to run Active Discovery manually and occasionally. You are free to configure it only to run between a provided start and end timestamp. Defining an end time is optional. If you define it, the scheduling of your Active Discovery will stop scheduling it after that time. Independently from your time range definition, you need to specify a frequency. This frequency will tell the system how often Active Discovery should be run. Keep in mind that there are potentially resource-constrained devices in your network, and sending and answering to Active Discovery queries is not for free and will allocate resources on their side. Once you configured all settings, click on Create. Click on the profile you just created. Reconfirm all settings. If there is need for changing something, click on Edit and apply your change. In this menu, you have the control to initiate a run of Active Discovery immediately, or pause its scheduling. Let's run it once immediately, just to confirm that everything is working as expected. Click on Run Once. You just completed the second out of the 2 steps. Let's navigate back to Explore in the main menu, once your just initiated Active Discovery run has completed. Select the preset you included into the profile that you created in step 2. In the preset, check for devices being found and click on them. Pay special attention on how their activities are being tagged. Potentially there are already devices listed due to the Active Discovery you configured. If so, you will find a tag documenting that. Thank you for watching this tutorial about configuring Active Discovery.